and we'll get started at around about 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the evening with us. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this very historic event. Not only are we here to wish our teams a farewell, good luck, but we also at our first ever capping ceremony where we are awarding South African colours for the first time to players that will be playing, representing us at World Cups and in Test matches. But before we kick off into the program, I'd just like us to open in prayer, and I'm going to call on Michelle Stoffels, if you could come up, and Dustin, Dick, please, if you could open for us in a short prayer. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace be upon you all, and with Allah's mercy and blessings. I'll open up with a short prayer, Quranic prayer. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي آمين.
Good evening, everyone. Can we just bow our heads in prayer, please? Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this amazing opportunity, and I want to thank you for bringing everyone here safely, and I want to ask that you will please just be with everything that's going to happen tonight. I ask that you will just keep your hand over it. I thank you for each and every player, for their sacrifice. Thank you for those that have supported them that are here tonight, even those that can't be here, that you will also be with them. And thank you for everyone who did so much behind the scenes to make tonight possible. And I ask that you will just continue to bless this evening, and when we go home later, that you'll just please take us home safely. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before we kick off, I think it's appropriate to thank a number of people that have, as Dustin said, made this possible. 91 have come on board as our kit sponsor and have saved our players an immense amount of money in sponsoring the kit, the playing kit that is, on-field kit. And we'd just like to officially thank 91 for their support, and we will definitely be doing you proud on the fields of Limerick. Apologies, Andy Calhoun from SA Rugby sends his apologies. He unfortunately is in Pretoria with the Springbok side and couldn't make it here this evening. One of our board members, Kaya Sikunana, is unfortunately ill in bed with a serious bout of flu, and he didn't want to come and destroy your trips by passing on his germs. So we wish you well, Kaiser, and a speedy recovery. Then also very important and part of this evening, although they are not here, are our mixed seniors team, members of the mixed open team and of the men's open team that are in the UK and Ireland watching on the live streaming. So we welcome all of our players that are overseas, that are unable to be here with us this evening, as well as the coaches and management of those teams. Before I start, I'm going to just bear with me for a second. I promise I will not talk for long. I've been restricted in my time. But in 2015, an in-flight magazine wrote this article. The Tag Rugby Association, Tag, you're it. Passion is said to have been the start of many successful initiatives. In 1993, Rob MacDonald's passion for sport and the youth of South Africa led him to developing a game that in years to come would see children and adults, not only in the Eastern Cape, but all over South Africa and the world, being introduced to rugby in a fun and safe manner through Tag Rugby. Our theme this evening is called The Long Walk. Now, for those of you that were born before Google, you'll understand the relevance of the Oxford Dictionary. That's a book for those of you that know Google. And we used to look up words in this book and we didn't really know their meaning. So I decided that this afternoon I would look up the word walk. And the Oxford Dictionary defines the word as a journey on foot usually for pleasure or for exercise. Now, if you bear with me for a minute, if we look at the second half of that sentence, it says, usually for pleasure and exercise. For me, this shows intent. So before we start walking, we have an intention, to attain a goal. It could either be for enjoyment or for fitness. Tag's walk started with Rob MacDonald in 1994 when he, as a young South African, was studying at Oxford. Rob's intention was to safely introduce young boys and girls, as we've heard, to rugby in a safe manner. Rob's intention has successfully been achieved, and Tag Rugby is now the chief introductory tool adopted by World Rugby to introduce youngsters to the sport. Rob's intention, however, had an additional benefit, which he didn't conceptualize when he thought of Tag Rugby way back when. He didn't take into account that some players would like to play rugby after they retire. Tag Rugby is a fantastic opportunity to do this. And in doing so, as we will see later tonight, they will be receiving national colours. On behalf of all of you seated here and the many others that have enjoyed Tag Rugby, I would like us to put our hands together and to thank Rob MacDonald for his intentions. At this juncture, I also feel that it is fitting to thank SA Rugby and SASCOC for acknowledging the hard work done by many, many dedicated folk that have walked with Tag Rugby since 1994. I will now be handing over to Andrew Russell, a person who has been an integral part of Tag Rugby's walk, to share a few insights regarding, funnily enough, a man with whom Rob MacDonald shares a birthday. Andrew Russell. Not Andrew Russell's birthday, that is.
Thank you, Stu, and thank you for inviting me to spend some time with you all here this evening. My name is Andrew Russell. I grew up in Cape Town. I'm a born and bred Cape Townian, went to school, university here, then I did my 2 years of national service, and then I taught for 8 years before moving into the tourism industry. The first thing that I started was a company called Gateway to Newlands, doing guided tours of Newlands rugby and cricket stadiums. And then I started a business organizing sports tours to South Africa. I guess I'm just sports mad. In 2017, I met a gentleman called Christo Brunt, who had been a prison guard for Nelson Mandela and had become a very close friend of Mandela for the rest of his life. And Christo had been working back at Robben Island, and he wanted to move away from there, and he asked me to be his business manager and to help him become a public speaker. And so we started this journey in 2018. And then when COVID hit us, everything ground to a halt. We all went into hiding, and I then managed to take up the time to make one of my dreams come true, and that was to write a book about Nelson Mandela. So what I want to do to start is to just take you back to South Africa in the 1980s, where someone said the country was one step away from Armageddon. There were sporting boycotts on South Africa. There were economic sanctions. There was a state of emergency in this country. I was doing national service with people like Stuart, and we were patrolling in the townships in our own country. This country was a mess. I don't need to even go into the apartheid laws that were still in place in the 1980s. And that was the world that Mandela walked into when he was released from prison. A year into his presidency, in 1995, he chose to turn to sport. And that was the moment we hosted the 1995 Rugby World Cup. Let me just remind you that in South Africa, before 1995, there'd only been 2 players of colour who'd worn the Springbok jersey. Errol Tobias in the 1980s, and then Chester Williams. So to most blacks in this country, the Springbok jersey was seen as the ultimate symbol of apartheid because they could never wear that jersey. And to many Afrikaans-speaking whites in this country, their biggest fear was a black president. And that moment when Mandela walked onto Ellis Park wearing a Springbok jersey was the defining moment in his career. And in the book that I've written about Nelson Mandela, I talk about that moment where he was basically saying to the blacks of South Africa, this is our national rugby side, we need to all get behind it. And he was saying to the Afrikaners that I know this is your team and I'm going to support you and we're all going to become one country through the Springbok rugby jersey. This is what Desmond Tutu said. What we saw was a revolution. If you predicted a year or even months earlier that people would be dancing in the streets of Soweto to celebrate a Springbok victory, imagine the Arch saying this. Most people would have said, you've been sitting in the South African sun too long and it's affected your brain. That match did for us what speeches of politicians or archbishops could not do. It galvanized us. It made us realize that it was actually possible for us all to be on the same side. It said it is actually possible for us to become one nation. Mandela was sports mad. He went on in 2000 at the Laureus Sports Award dinner in Monaco to make what was another one of his famous speeches. And I want to read to you what he said. Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to the youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair. It is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial barriers. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination. And then you all remember that Nelson Mandela played a pivotal role in South Africa being awarded the 2010 FIFA World Cup here in South Africa. Tragically, some of you might remember that he could not attend the first game between South Africa and Mexico because the day before that, his great-granddaughter Zanani had been killed in a car crash by a drunk driver when she was coming back from a concert to celebrate the World Cup. So he missed the first game, but a few weeks before his 92nd birthday, he was able to attend the final of the World Cup. So you guys, Stuart spoke about walking. You guys have been on an incredible journey to get to where you are. And I know there have been a lot of challenges. And I want to speak to all of us here about when we face hardship in our lives. I just want you, next time you're having a bad day, to think back to Nelson Mandela spending 18 years on Robben Island in a cell 6 foot by 8 foot, sleeping for years on a concrete floor with 2 mats and 3 blankets, using a bucket at night for his ablutions. There was a story told that one morning, one of the other prisoners had been taken to the mainland, and one of the warders told one of the other prisoners to empty that prisoner's bucket in the morning, and this guy refused. So what did Mandela do? He took that guy's bucket, and he went and emptied that guy's bucket. So that was the guy that Mandela was like when he was in prison. I talk in my book about how Mandela coped with lockdown. We all went through lockdown. We all had 2 or 3 years where it was pretty tough. I want you to try and imagine 27 years of lockdown, in which time his mother died and he wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. His son was killed in a car crash in 1969. He was not allowed to send a message to his son to be read out at his son's funeral. And he walked out of prison with a choice. He could choose revenge or he could choose reconciliation. He chose reconciliation. And if he hadn't have, this country would have gone up in smoke. My book is all about the lessons we can all learn from Nelson Mandela. And Stuart, I want to make a pledge here today that when my book is published, hopefully by September, October, I'd like to give a copy of my book to every single one of the TAG players and coaches going to Limerick. And hopefully you'll just be able to dip into the book and maybe you can take some of the lessons from Mandela and put them into every one of our lives. This country needs leaders like never before. And speaking to Stuart about the challenges that you guys have overcome, you guys are the leaders that we need in this country. Either in your family or at work, in your place of worship, in your community. Every single one of you guys here are the leaders that this country needs. So, just remember, as I say, when you're having a bad day, think to what that man went through. And he did it for all of us in this country. Stuart spoke about a journey. Mandela started his journey in a small little village of Mvezo in the Eastern Cape. Then he moved to Kunu. Then he went to Johannesburg. He was sent to Robben Island. He went to Pollsmoor. He went to Victor. He ended up becoming president of South Africa. But he never forgot where he came from. And he chose to be buried back in the small village of Kunu in the Eastern Cape. Because in his book, he said that was where he spent the happiest years of his life as a young boy. He could have chosen anywhere to be buried. He said, no, I want to be buried in that small village. So, as I finish my few words this evening, Stuart told me how long I had to talk. Nelson Mandela came out of prison, and at one of the first functions he spoke at, he was told how long he had to speak. And he stood up and he said, you know what? I've been in prison for 27 years. I've now got freedom of speech. No one's going to tell me how long I can speak. So as I finish, I'm going to ask Ratabile to come up with me. And I'm going to ask her to read the last paragraph from Long Walk to Freedom. And as she reads it, I just want every one of you to reflect on your own journey, how far you've come to get here. Parents who are here, your journeys have been even longer. So I want you to reflect on your journeys and the journey that this man has taken TAG Rugby to get to where you guys are now. So just pause for a moment and listen to Ratabile read the last paragraph from Nelson Mandela's book.
I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter, but I have made mistakes along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back at the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibility, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for those inspirational and kind words. The bar has been set, and the bar has become a very high bar. We've got a lot to achieve. It's all very well playing for the TAG Rugby box in the 2015 and 2018 World Cup, because we were a TAG Rugby team from South Africa. Now we are players that have South African colours playing at a World Cup. A subtle but very big difference. And as Andrew says, each and every one of you are leaders. Leaders in the team, leaders in your community. Something that people will look to, and you will inspire people You will encourage people. And people will look at you and say, I want to be like them, because they have overcome whatever hassles they've come, whatever challenges have been placed before them, and they've achieved. Whether you play for 10 minutes at the World Cup, or you play every single game, you are part of the South African team. You have your national colours, and each and every one of you has a very, very special role in the team. And together, we are stronger. Together, you will be successful. Talking of success, I'm going to introduce to you now Chris Dry, Sevens player who's played for the South African Blitzbokke as long as we've been doing tag rugby, which is about 30 years, I think. He is a legend. He's got a lot out of sports, and he's going to come up here in a minute and just share some of the insights of how he transformed himself from a young, possibly naive rugby player to someone that people look up to now, and he started coaching and sharing his knowledge with them. Chris, thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Thanks for inviting me. Sorry for my voice. I am a coach, so I do shout at players, as you all know. But guys, I think first and foremost, I was born in Cape Town, strangely enough. I grew up in the Free State. So, I'm English, but grew up in an Afrikaans environment. And I remember one of my very first introduction to the Free State Union was another legend, Alfred Miller. And for those of you who don't know Alfred Miller, he's probably the guy that shouldn't speak, but he's always going to say something. And I remember him walking in, and one of the very first team meetings, and he says, guys, listen here, I want to teach you rugby, right? And it's called the 4 Ps, right? And we're all right. Alfred is a legend, you have to listen. But the thing is with Alfred Miller, he had a little bit of a stutter. So whenever he told a story, it took 10 times longer. So when he would start, he'd say, okay, I lost. Come now, getting cold, Free State's -5, I'm going to get on the field, get out. So he said, guys, I want to teach you about the 4 Ps of rugby. So he said, great, let's go. He says the first P, right, is passion. Great, tell us, it makes sense. It makes sense. Passion, you've got to be passionate. Passion, success. Cool. He says the second P is possession. Does that make sense? Yeah, you possession, you keep the ball. He says the third P. He says he's thinking, he's running out of P. He says the third P is position. And we say, great, tell us, great. Okay, passion, position, you got it all. Okay, the fourth one, he says, tell us the fourth one. He looks at us, he's blinded, he ran out of all of his English, he's Afrikaans. He says, guys, the fourth P, he's looking around, the fourth P is looking for a word, nothing's working. He says, the fourth P is support. So guys, my message to you, I look at and I went to quite a few of these jersey presentations, and I come here into a room and I see there's so many followers and supporters here in this room, and you guys sitting in front, you'll realize that you didn't get here by yourself. Just like I didn't get there by myself, just like whoever is sitting here didn't get there by themselves. It's a support base. So I think first and foremost, I think just acknowledge them, acknowledge your family, support. I think we just give them a round of applause. Guys, that being said, I think, if you look at the numbers in this room, I think if we had to host the World Cup, I think we could fill Cape Town Stadium as it stands. But guys, yeah, so if I share just my journey, I come from, I want to say, humble beginnings. I came from a school that, growing up in Cape Town, you play for the A team. There's only 2 teams. You didn't play for the A team, you can play soccer for the A team. The school that I went to, it wasn't a rugby school. And then my dad said, listen, I'm sending you to Great Bloom, you become a good rugby player. And I got there and I started playing soccer because I didn't see a chance. And and my journey was strange because I was always in the B team. I was always seen as second. And Eventually, came to under 13 and I made the A team, but then I didn't make the Craig week, I made the second team. And I was like, just a process, get through it. And went through my whole high school career being in a second team. Strangely enough, just as I think I'm getting the edge, another import would come because we have to win, success there, great boom. We'd get another import and you're going to find yourself again. And up until matric, standard 9 played second team. Now matric is the year. Matric comes and I'm second team again. And the message in my head was always, I'm the perfect average because, I just got enough to go to varsity, maybe a longer route, because I'm not going to be first choice. So I saw myself as a perfect average. And I look at your process where you've come from, it's like now you're a BOK, where previously it was never acknowledged, right? But it didn't mean that you weren't worth the value. So sometimes it just goes through a process. And I think the fortunate part, I don't want to say relieving part, but I think for you guys, often some people have to go through the process so someone else can get the success. And I think you're so fortunate to be here and grab a little bit of success. Because behind the scenes, there's always someone who had to work hard that doesn't always get acknowledged. And someone had to pay for the seat, and you don't know who paid for it, but someone had to do for it so you can sit there. So guys, I'm taking a small example. Is that when I joined the Springbok Sevens in my journey, my very first jersey presentation, only us in the team, and they put the jersey out and they said, guys, what is the value of this jersey? As a youngster, you don't know. You don't know the value because you've just got here. You just say yes, and okay, coach, yes. And they said, well, this value of this jersey now you can currently buy at Sports and Wear, it's cost 750 Rand or 500 Rand. Currency now, already 700. Call it 700 Rand. That was the value of the jersey. Because it's just a piece of material. You can go buy any single jersey anywhere. You can buy the jersey. So the jersey that I'm wearing, you can go buy it. So what was the difference between the jersey that I was wearing that we later auctioned for a donation to a kids charity and it got 40,000 Rand versus the 700 Rand? What is the difference? The only difference is that we decided to give that jersey a value. So I can give you a shirt and you can see that shirt is 500 Rand, or you can take that 500 Rand shirt and give it a value. And I think you guys are so fortunate to be in that position to actually take something that was never something, that never had a value, and give it a value. So in 10 years' time, a kid's going to walk past a Sports and Wear and see, hey guys, there's a tag jersey. I want to buy a tag jersey. Why? Because it's actually got a value now. Do you understand? So you guys are in such a powerful position and it's something special that you guys can create. And I think, you have to acknowledge, I think it's a lot of hard work getting to the point where you can actually call yourself a BOK because there was never there. Okay, so there's a lot of hard work, and the only way that you can reward that is by doing something that someone wants to create and give it a value. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna leave here, and someone else is gonna take that valued item, and you're not gonna have it anymore. Then you're gonna go buy your 500 Rand jersey because it's not part of you anymore. So you got to leave it there, but you have to leave it in a better space because otherwise you're not worth being in this space now at the moment. So guys, I think no pressure. I think just the excitement of actually creating something so special that you will remember for the rest of your lives. And strangely enough, I think I played 364 games, which is a long time. And in my head, I don't think I can remember much of the game, honestly. So we play contact, so a few concussions, fair. But guys, it's you don't remember the playing because it's so intense. But what you do remember is the process, the pre-season, the moment that you're getting onto the field. You remember the flights, you remember the celebrations, you remember the hardships. And with all that, that's the process that you have to go through, but you also have to enjoy it. So if I can leave you with something and encourage you, is that before you start, just take a breath and just try and acknowledge this moment, because you'll never get it again, because the next one will be different. The next one will be different. So your first one will be so overwhelming because I'm actually a BOK now, and your last one will be, it's the last one. So the process in between, just try and enjoy it. So as closing, guys, I'm looking at these bags, and it reminds me of another Alice joke that I just felt like I have to share. You guys walk right into it, putting the bags right in front. So Alfred Miller is in now I'm a senior. I'm 21, but I'm in the big changing room. Nice, we call it the war room. And guys, that room's nice. It's not cold. It's not under the staircase. You don't smell mold. Right? Exactly. Aircon's working. Coffee machine. There's a big screen. You even got that. We've got projectors, speakers. Guys, I'm telling you, Super Rugby. It's the nice change room. And I remember we playing against Western Province. And it's a big game, for the Cheetahs that time. It's a big game. And Alfred Miller's been upgraded. He's the team manager of the senior team. So it's the beginning of the season. And Nakadrotsky is, you don't open a bottle, you just sort of focus now. And he's so he's telling this is the plan and this. And I'm just happy to be there. I'm just smiling, looking around, trying to take the moment in. And poof, the door kicks open. Yeah, Alfred Miller walks in. He says, next. He said, Alice, what is it? He said, come. He said, guys, before. And now I can see the sweat is running down Nakadrotsky's face. He's blood red because he wants the guys to focus. It's a big game. And Alfred Miller comes in and he says, guys, when you're done with the meeting, I want you to please come fetch your tracksuits. The tight head prop jumps off his seat, plastic chair goes flying. He says, yo, Alice, is it going so well that this year we're getting 3 tracksuits? But guys, it's the moments like those that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And you'll forget every single rugby moment. At the Cheetahs, you get a tracksuit maybe next year. So it is so relevant. But guys, it's about appreciating the moment, taking it all in, and when you're done, just leave it with something that it wasn't. Give it a little edge. Give it a little something that's special that that you've left your mark there, and it's for the better. Because it's so easy to break something down, but it takes years to build up. And I think, well done. Honestly, well done. Guys, I've been watching tag and I'm in between. Like, where's it going to go? Because it's been around now for a long time. And sometimes someone told me once, he says, if you keep kicking at a door, it'll break down. And he said, but if you keep knocking at it, eventually someone's going to annoy it and open it up. And I think that's the message. Just keep going, keep knocking, keep working, and eventually success will come. That's just the way of the world. So guys, from my side, thank you for allowing me to tell you 1 or 2 stories. And I'm really excited to see how you guys go. And again, no pressure. I think go out and enjoy it. And once you play with an open heart, and you can actually just go out and play, you're going to be the best you can. So guys, from our side, enjoy, and I wish you all the best, all the success.
Thank you, Chris. I think I'm just going to move the lectern aside quickly because we have been pestered in the Tag Rugby office since I think about the middle of April. What's our kit looking like? And by the way, you are getting a tracksuit. Only one. So I'd like to introduce you, or show you, and all those that are doing the streaming, our kits that you will be proudly wearing at the World Cup in just over 10 days' time. So I'd like to invite Fads, our mixed open captain, co-captain. Would you come onto the stage, Fads? Here we go. And a legend on all social media, Instagram and anything else that is a video attached to it, Carl Saunders, our men's captain. Just to take you through move over a little bit. Just to take you through the kit, you'll see the aspects of the South African flag in the pants, and the ITF logo predominantly shown. And then if you would unzip your jackets. There we go, that's our kit. I don't know if you can see it from the back, but obviously on the cuffs of the sleeve here we have the South African flag included, and then on the garments a watermark of the Springbok and the Protea, so you've got to get really up close to have a look. Hopefully the opposition don't get that close to them to see the watermarks. But so this is going to be our home kit with the green shorts that Coffee is wearing, and this will be our way strip in the white. Okay, so we can give them a round of applause. And we are very conscious of the fact that you, not the players, or you involved with the players, had to raise a heck of a lot of money to get the kit. The kit is absolutely sensational. There's stuff that we've got donated, there's stuff that we've been given that has come out of the blue. The kindness from sponsors and people that we've received has just been overwhelming. And I'd like to officially also thank all of those people that have donated to us. My friends on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, I apologize. But you always come through for the players. And the UK team, the mixed seniors, thought up a slogan, leave no TagBOKS behind. And I can say that we haven't left a single person behind. There were many players that were struggling 10 days ago, and they are now on the plane, leaving in 4 days. Before we get going with the capping ceremony, could I ask the management team to step outside for a minute? And then when I call you, you can come in, and then Chris will cap you. Bex, you won't take the photos now. But if the management team, coaches, Duma, outside with Bex, Lorica, just be a minute, and then we will get going. I will just move out the way so we get. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a photographer here, so we will give you high-res photos of your loved ones after the event, and also there will be time afterwards for you to take photos as families in front of the backdrop. We do have Super Sport Blitz that are going to be doing 1 or 2 interviews straight after the event, and I'd like to thank Gerald de Kock and his team for coming out on a cold winter's evening to get us some footage. And it is vital, as Chris says, that people know about TAG. People know that we are going to a World Cup, and people know that we can get national colours for TAG. So thanks very much, Gerald and your team, really appreciate it, and Morna and his Encode Pro team for doing the streaming. So we're going to get on to the management team first. Ladies and gentlemen, if I said that the management of these 3 teams, both the coach and manager in the UK and our South African managers and coaches, have spent thousands of hours preparing for this World Cup, I would say that is a gross understatement. They are not paid to do the job. They do it because they love each and every one of our players, and they're passionate about sport. So I'd like to call up first our head coach, if he's ready. Gilbert Modrai. He's the head coach. Gilly, come in. There we go. If you could go to Chris. Congratulations, Gilly. Chris, if you could just whoop that off, and Gilly, if you could walk around and out. The next coach is our coach of our mixed open team, Dumant Loko. Thank you, Duma. The next 2 coaches, next 2 individuals getting capped aren't here with us today, but they are viewing the streaming. Our coach, mixed seniors coach, Jodie Bijora from Australia. She's our mixed seniors coach based in the UK. And the manager for the mixed seniors team is Sunay Kaiser. So if we could give them a quick round of applause. Then our men's open manager based in South Africa, Rebecca McConnell.
Let's go, Bex.
There you go, Bex.
Come on, Bex.
The physio for all three teams, Lorica Lewis. If I could ask the captains that are present
Go, go.
to please step outside, our captains. Okay, we'll start off with our mixed seniors, respecting our elders. Based in the UK, our captain of our mixed seniors team is Natasha Glassford, and our vice captain is Martin Kaiser. Then our mixed open captain, our men's open captain and model for the evening, Carl Sanders. Just getting dressed. Congratulations, Carl. Mixed open vice captain, Chad Phillip. Men's open, sorry, apologies. Then the co-captain of our mixed open team, Sean Rogers. Congratulations, Sean. An interesting story about Sean, just while we, little caveat, is that Sean was studying, or is still studying at ETA. He came and we were running an event, and part of his community service was to get involved in sports events. By the third day, he could not control himself. He was so excited. He managed to swindle his way onto a field, and he played his first game of tag rugby. 3 years later, he's going to the World Cup as our mixed open captain. Our mixed open co-captain, Fadia Arbels. We're going to move on to the mixed seniors team, and I'll read out the one player that is based in South Africa, and then I'll read out the overseas based players after that. In South Africa, mixed seniors, Sean Clark. Then the other players that are getting capped, this capping ceremony for our mixed seniors players, and those players that are representing the men's teams and mixed open teams that are based overseas, will take place at the World Cup. So they will have a capping ceremony and get to go through the process too. The names in no particular order: Grant Bezadenote, Michelle Boom, Ian Boerter, Kevin Byrne, Marco Cosabella, Peter de Kock, whose father happens to be in the room with us. Congratulations, Gerald, on your son. Sam Duff, Shannon Fain Harvey, R. Kia Yapi, Claudia Mulvey, Courtney Osborne, Tanine Pitterser, Anna-Marie Rower, Stephen Tassel, Michelle van der Merwe, James Visser, and Tanny Ann Wilson. If I could please ask the mixed open team to go outside. I will mention the overseas players first. We have 2 players based in the UK, Michaela Bezedenote and Steph Lord. Starting at the top, can I please invite Nico Prinsloo. Quick turnaround, Nico. Congratulations. Then I'd like to invite up to the stage Mariska Lutz. Congratulations, Mariska. Sarah Crone. No, Sarah Cronin. Well done, Sarah. Natasha Hofmeister. Well done, Tash. Michael Stoffels. Betevene Thaler. Rita, as she's affectionately known, is one of 4 ETA coaches that are representing South Africa at the World Cup. They also coach tag rugby on a daily basis from Monday to Friday, so they are getting their just deserves and resulting in SA colours. So thank you, Rita. Chadwin Smith. They always give Chadwin a hard time. As big as his smile is the size of Chadwin's heart. He never leaves anything on the field, Chadwin. Sarah Phillip. Well done, Sarah. Oh, the cat. So a quick story about Sarah. We were on tour in Ireland in 2019, and Sarah and I were the only 2 supporters of the team on that tour. Sarah was over, she was visiting friends, and she said to me, sitting on the side of the field, one day I will show my husband up and I will play for South Africa. So well done, Sarah. Ricardo Lynx. Adam Kamaldin. Mikhail Stemet. Ethan Rogers. This next one is going to be a challenge with you and the hat. Ashton Samuels. Enrico Bunzaya.
Smile.
If the men's team could please, those of you that haven't been capped, move outside. I'll start off again with the overseas players, overseas base players. Gavin Sterling, Tsepo Monchur, Warren Prospero, Peter Hageman, okay, that was quicker than Chadwick. Clyde Jackson. Mujahid Nurdin. James Lacombe. Sean Hardy. Josh McCall. Keanu Klink. Todd Jacobs. Todd is one of our younger players going on tour. Kieran Engelbrecht. This next player has an immense sense of humor. I remember he came and arrived at one of his first practices, and he came up to me and said, "Hi, you're Mr. Mac." So I said, "Yes, I am. Nice to meet you." He said, "Hi, I'm Mr. Wellbuilt. Charlie Forte." He's been working on his chest this week. Next player is Caden Williams. Munir Khan. Dustin Dick. Thank you very much. Thank you, teammate, team players. Thank you, Chris. We're nearly there. The eats are waiting. The drinks are cold. I'm just going to conclude this evening and just to say brief thank yous. I think first of all, we mentioned his name in the beginning. Without him, we wouldn't have this evening. We wouldn't have a game called Tag Rugby. So he had a previous function, but please can we once again, big round of applause for Rob MacDonald, who's at the back of the room. Rob, thank you. Finally, as we conclude this evening, I'd like to officially wish you all well, our South African national players. Well done. I think we definitely need to acknowledge where we've come. We have had a long walk. Sometimes we've walked alone, sometimes we've walked with others. We've got to the top of the hills, as Rita told us, only to find there is a valley on the other side with more hills. And we've walked those hills. Together we've walked those hills. I'd like to also thank at the moment SASCOC and SA Rugby, who have acknowledged the walk that we've done since 1994, when Rob, as a student, most probably in a pub in the UK, thought up this game. But we are there. We are at the top of the hill. We have more hills to climb. We have more challenges to overcome. We will get there. We will do well. We will succeed. We will make friends. And we will play the game hard, true and fair. And we will honor ourselves. And we will honor those that are sitting at the back and those that are not here. That have begged, borrowed, and not stolen money to get us on the plane. I'd also like to thank Philip and his wife Carmen. They ensure that Mr. Mac's promises are always kept. I think it's the first time in this being our third World Cup that we have our kit on time, packaged in bags, Chris, kit bags, one tracksuit. But they ensure that my promises are always kept. Them and their staff are absolutely fantastic. And it has been a long walk with them too. We have supported them and they have helped me for 20 odd plus years. So thank you to Philip and Carmen and their team at Hadit for doing such a fantastic job for us all the time. Then to Morne and his team at Encode Pro, thank you very much for allowing our players and supporters around the world to view with us in real time this event. I really appreciate you, Morne, and your team's efforts. Thank you. My second last thank you goes out to the Lutz family, possibly the kindest family I have ever met. 3 World Cups down, 3 World Cups they are behind the scenes helping, donating, giving, bending over backwards to make sure that the little things are taken care of and that every player is comfortable. Once again, the Lutz family haven't disappointed us. In fact, there are some lovely treats that they are going to be giving you and will include and have been included in your packs. So to Auntie Janet, thank you for the lovely flowers and thank you for being you and for raising such a fantastic daughter who is the kindest person I think I've met, next to my wife, that is. Then finally, someone who most of the people in the first 4 rows have grown to hate and love at the same time. To Bex McConnell. She has taken a gap year. She finished her studies last year and she decided to take a gap year and work at TAG. My word, I think she's ruining that decision now. But she, for the first time in the history of TAG, got the payments in on time, got the deposits paid, organized everything, designed our fantastic kit, although she doesn't want to take credit for it. But Bex, thank you. You have run the office super efficiently. You've been a pain in the back side to most of the players, but you've got them over the line. And I can safely say that In all 3 of these World Cups, we have never been so organized. So thank you very much. And I also have a recycling program. Bex doesn't communicate unless it's on WhatsApp. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the evening, and just a special thanks to all of you who have donated money and the efforts you've put in here, those of you that are here, to get your loved ones on the plane. We really appreciate it. To Chris, thank you for coming and entertaining us with a few of your fantastic stories. And to our coaches and managers, well done, well done. You've done the hard work. It's now up to the players sitting behind you to do that on the field and get you your results. So all the best to you all. Thank you for coming. Please can you enjoy some eats, Super Sport Blitz. We'd just like to do a couple of interviews and then you can come up and take photographs with your loved ones.
So actually, I don't want to hijack this, but I think we're forgetting one person that we should thank, and I think it's only appropriate. I'm a big believer in giving honor where honor is due, and I think we should be all upstanding and just thank Stu for all this hard work.
Thank you very much. Please enjoy the eats, have a cool drink or beer, and we'll just, what we'll do, players, is Bex will come up. You can come and collect your kit, and then you can enjoy the evening with your folks and friends. Thank you very much, everybody.